Yes, sir. To get the full song from Prophetess Talitha Kumi called Jehovah, please click the link at the top line of the description boxes everywhere: Spotify, Apple, DistroKid, YouTube. Click the link at the top line of the description to get Jehovah now. Peace.
Guys that sell a lot on the music side of hip hop, most of their money comes from overseas. They go and do shows overseas. They make 3 times the amount that they're paid in America because we are appreciated elsewhere, gentlemen. We are really, truly appreciated.
Yes, sir. No, we two brothers born in the 80s, raised in the 90s, and obviously now fathers in this new generation, right? And it's been funny because recently I've been looking at these documentaries and they've been kind of dated in the 90s, and it's bringing back that nostalgia of me growing up. And when you're speaking and you're obviously a brother from Compton, and there was a lot going on in the late 80s, early 90s in Compton, California, and things like that. So what got you to kind of get out of your environment, get out of those circumstances, get into politics, get into writing books, getting into kind of wanting to venture outside of that area? Because for a very long time, especially during those times, a lot of people didn't venture outside of their neighborhoods, didn't venture outside to see the horizons that were awaiting them beyond where they were at in their living spaces. So what was the motivating factor for you to go, you know what, I got to get the hell up out of here. I got to broaden my horizon. If I want to do what I want to do, it can't be in Compton. Like, when was that light bulb? When did that click for you?
So you guys ready?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. This is the first time you've ever heard this. I guarantee it. They lied to you about Compton. Compton is not that hard. It never was.
Wow.
That's a small part of my city. Let's talk about Compton. So Compton is called the hub city. My dad was a police captain in Compton. My mom was president of the city council. All right. Compton was called the hub city. George Bush Sr. lived in Compton. Compton was called the hub city because it was the place between downtown and the docks, where workers on both sides, workers on the white collar side that work in the banking industry could afford a home in Compton, and workers that worked in the San Pedro side could afford a home in Compton. So it was the hub, it's the center, right? And that's who lived in Compton. I grew up amongst the Black elite. I lived in an area where the people owned properties with acres of land, where farmland. There are farms in the city of Compton. To this day, right next to Compton College, that Dr. Dre said, bodies being found on Greenleaf with their head cut off. Mother effer, I'm Dre. Remember that line? Greenleaf. When you drive down Greenleaf, it leads to Richland Farms. Richland Farms is nothing but big homes with property where still to this day where there's horses and cows, and that's Compton. So there's an elite to Compton that people did not have the ability to see because NWA came out and lied to you. NWA came out and told a lie. They came out and made it look like Compton was this hard place where everybody's grab a sawed off and bodies get hauled off. That was a lie. NWA was liars. That's why I say NWA destroyed hip hop, because they came out and they brought in this gangster mindset, which just was not the case. There was where I grew up in Compton, there were no dope boys on my corner. There were dope boys on corners in Compton that I saw, but they weren't on my block because my block had fathers. And where you have fathers, you have no dope boys. I didn't say dads or daddies or baby daddies. I said fathers. All of my friends have fathers. I had a father. So how can you possibly be on my block? You getting run off the block right away. So those were the people, those were the men that told me, you go out into this world, you get the information, and you bring it back. That is your responsibility, to go out, get information, and bring it back so that we can be better. And then the Ronald Reagan era comes in, and the dope boys and the things that we saw in other areas, it just starts to permeate. And that's the era that you're talking about when we get into the late 80s, early 90s. We saw gangs in Compton in the 1970s, but the most you would hear about was, a fight and somebody fall or maybe a stabbing. That's the most. Once crack cocaine came in during the Reagan years, once he allowed this drug to permeate these communities, well, crack cocaine brought in money. Gangs didn't have any money before that. The gang culture was broke. It's still broke to this day. Crips and Bloods don't have any money. They're broke. That's why they hang out at parks and play dominoes. They don't have any money. They live with their mamas. Please. So when you really looked at the city of Compton, you saw fathers. Our police force was black. You have black cops who live next door to you. What kind of trouble can you really get into when the guy who's next door to you is the police officer?
Right.
It's difficult, right? It's difficult. All my coaches were cops. My football coaches were cops. My basketball coaches were cops. The man who got me in the Golden Glove boxing was a cop. These were black police officers. So their men told me that I needed to go and leave because this, not just the city of Compton, but Compton more specifically, but the city of Los Angeles was too small for a mind like I had. I didn't want to be a mechanic, no disrespect to mechanics. I didn't want to be a bricklayer, no disrespect to them. No, I didn't want to be a roofer. I didn't want to work on the docks as a longshoreman. I saw Prince in Paris, and I saw Michael Jackson was on television in the 80s in Bucharest. You guys, I thought they said Budapest incorrectly.
I thought you just said that indirectly just now.
Right.
Right.
I thought they were incorrect about saying Budapest, because that's the only place I'd heard of in geography class, right? I
Right.
never heard of Bucharest, but Michael Jackson had sold out a soccer stadium, floor to seats in the 1980s. It was on this stage, and they played it on national television. This black man, they played this on national television. So when I saw that, I said, I want to be in Bucharest. Well, that's far from Compton.
Yeah.
So the only way I was going to achieve that was to leave. And so as soon as I had that opportunity, and I was nervous, I was scared, as most of us are afraid to get off the block because we've never seen it before. But once I got there and I was received and I was treated like a human being, oh, there was no looking back. So really, it was the black community that told me I had to go and do better and do greater. And then that same black community got hooked on crack.
Mm.
Right.
If you can, I'm going to go back to NWA and to your best of your knowledge.